Three of eight. 3 of 8. 6 of 8. 6 of 8. 6 of 8. 7. We're at 7. So 8 of 8. Let's get started, folks.
Let's rock the house, baby.
Wake and bake Fred Fury with the Wake and bake Fred Fury now live on
Good morning, Kathleen. How are you doing? Good morning, Dee. How are you doing? I am in the process of sharing. I will be right back. Today's show will
DJ Murph, turn the
possibly be
fuck
going
up.
overtime.
Wake and bake.
And I have the gas guy coming up to give me my
Wake up in
receipts.
the
So
morning and I wake and bake.
please do not wait
Wake and
up
bake.
tomorrow.
I wake and bake. Wake up in the morning.
Light school DJs, I see you. I see you.
Wake and bake.
Yeah, I'm
I
just
wake
doing
and
live
bake.
right now.
Wake up in the morning thinking about that cake. Wake and bake. I wake and bake.
156
Wake up in the morning and I wake and
liters
bake.
of propane
Wake and
I
bake.
have
My
received.
money straight.
Yay.
Please don't call my phone if it ain't about that
It
cake.
could've come in the
We
sewer.
smoking grapes.
Or could've.
Them Swiss
Then I wouldn't
sweets.
have been in
Hot
cold
boxing
for
out the
it.
whip, my nigga fuck police.
Oh no, my cold
Pull up
blankets
with your
were
bitch,
freezing
smoking
cold
loud
camper.
packs. Wake
There
and
was
bake and
only
fucking
half
cause she
an hour
like
that
that.
there was no
I'm
seeing my
about a
cup.
sack, fuck the price
What's this
tag.
from?
Flip the work, then I
So,
get it right
We are
back.
up to
Wake and bake.
ambient temperature now.
I wake and bake. Wake up in the morning, then I wake and bake. Wake and bake. I wake
I
and
had
bake.
ordered the gas 2 days
Wake
ago,
up in the morning, smoke a box
and
of
then I had to
grapes.
call again
Wake
confirm
and bake.
yesterday. We
I
got
wake
our
and bake.
propane today.
Wake up in the morning thinking about that cake. Wake and bake. I wake and bake. Wake up in the morning, then I wake and bake.
Wake up in the morning and I wake and bake. Jugging off a pound, started from an eighth. Bags of the gas, bitch, that's major weight. You can call my phone and get the shit today. Bad yellow bitch, but her
Oh,
titties
that would
fake.
be why. My wake and bake is way too loud. My bad. I blame D. Cochran for that hash that keeps making me do things like that. Good thing I'm on the last bowl of that hash. So today we will be listening to Blaze Your Dead Homies live interview with the Fago Lover Heavens that was done 2 nights ago.
up, y'all? This is Scotty D from
Kathleen
FatalOvers.net,
says
and I have
hi.
with me a very special
D.
guest, the one and only Blaze, your dead homie. What up, Blaze?
What up, though? How you
Oh,
doing,
shoot, I
Scotty?
forgot to change
Man,
the
I can't
description in
complain.
today's show.
Well, I
We're
can
going
a
to
lot
blame
about
that
this
on D
pandemic and
today,
shit,
too.
but I missed live
Oh yeah,
shits.
I mean everybody's got
Yeah, I'm sure you missed live
everybody's
shows
got.
too, but yeah.
Come on, man, it's crazy. I know live shows are
D
just
says hi back,
it's a whole different
Kathleen.
thing. I know everybody's missing you. Everybody out there listening, me included, man. I hate being cooped up because
Back
that's
to my
exactly what
sharing.
you are. You're like cooped up, and you feel like you're just stuck in a place. And I've been here a majority of time. Seems like even without having anything to do with quarantine, like I haven't been really quarantined for any reason because I had no COVID in my area really. And, I got checked because we were in contact with somebody that was close to it. But I feel like I've been quarantined anyway, because there's nothing I've been doing. Like I'm stuck in this place and there's not much to do around me. And like I was telling you earlier, the weather is horrible. So I'm really just like, you're sitting here trying to think of things to do. And it's almost brings you back to them days when you were younger and you're like, man, you're stuck in the house and your parents are like, get outside and go do something. And you're trying to think of things to do outside, like, but it's cold as shit. Well, still, I guess I can go out there and
Excuse me.
I don't know, try to fix the mailbox or something, like just some stupid shit. Because my mailbox, like true shit, it gets knocked down. I moved out here years ago, and I think since I've been here, my mailbox is knocked down every single year by like the actual people, the salt trucks. They come through here and they just zoom past and they're kicking the snow off, and the snow will kick the mailbox right over and kick it off. So like this year, I finally did it. I went, I purchased a new mailbox and I put this thing in and I staked it down on the ground. And wouldn't you know, sure enough, same thing happened. Brought this motherfucker down. So then I got wise because I had an old a post that was in there, and I was like, let me just connect post to post. And this is what I did. And so far, so good. We'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm telling you, crazy shit that starts going through your mind. You're sitting cooped up. You're like, damn it, I guess I could try to fix that. Yeah.
Well, the next step is a brick mailbox, I guess, right?
Oh, I was thinking of putting bricks around said mailbox because,
right.
I've seen it down the street. People have it, but I don't want to half-ass it. I don't want to go out there and just start tossing cinder blocks around this thing. You got to have a real mortar and some shit done. It's like you got to watch a couple of YouTube videos before you go tackling a project like that.
For sure.
For real.
Well, Blaze, you've had a long and storied career spanning all the way back to the early 90s, even before you and Scraps linked up.
Yeah.
You've consistently put out albums from all the way from then all the way through last year's Cadaver. The Juggalo classic One Less G in the Hood actually dropped 20 years ago this year. What does that feel like for you, man?
20, man, it's crazy. It feels like yesterday. Like in some aspects, sometimes it feels like yesterday. Sometimes it feels like a long ass time ago. Like it really is, because that's what it is. Like 20 years it almost seems like forever ago. And I remember sitting back on a bus with, like, I remember I was out there with I told this story before. Like I've been out there with I was the first time I was out actually on tour with ICP. I mean, there were plenty of times I was out there with Twisted and we were doing shows, and we went out and did a tour together. Like I think it was Hatchet Rising. Yeah. And we did the tour together. But this is the first time I went out solo, me and Killa, and we did Bazaar, I believe it was. Yeah. And we were out there for, I think, leg 2. And we went out there and I said my album was done, and it was in, it was in the can and it was ready to be done. And I left everything there for Twisted to mix, and they were mixing the record, and, the phone call came in, and that's where this happened. But I remember sitting out there distinctly sometime on that tour, and just with Jay, and he had me and Killa on the bus, and he was like, where do you see yourself in like, 20, 30 years? And, and I remember looking at him, and I was just like, comfortably doing, what I love, like music and shit, right. And I was just like, just comfortably doing music and doing what I love and shit, just keep, doing this. And and being able to do this. And, would I ever thought that this was what it would be like 20 years later? I'm still doing music. It's like, I'm doing what I love.
Incredible.
Like, hell no, man. I really was like, whoa, cause nobody, and not many people get a chance to get out there and actually do it for, 5 years or like, 10 years. Like, damn, man, this is some crazy shit. But yeah, I feel blessed to be able to continue to do this. And, you know what I mean? And it started way back when. And like I said, just rapping in the parking lots of Myers, I think it was, when I met Scraps at work. We were both working together. That was like the first paper job I think I ever held on paper as a kid. It was like, I was at Myers, and I met Scraps there, and me and him we were working together. And I remember just rapping in the parking lot and him coming up and being like, damn, man, you ever thought about doing this? And, who would have thought then, it was like, damn, yeah, I mean, I really love doing this, but I don't know if I have what it takes. Yeah. So it's crazy as hell, man, for real.
So to commemorate the 20-year anniversary, you're going to be performing the entire album on February 5th, right?
It's pretty much the entire album. There are some things that might be changed and mixed and changed in there, but there are some new things that I want everybody to also see. And so I've tried to hook people up with some flavor, because not everything made it. But yeah, there's some very cool shit in there.
Okay, well, I was going to get into maybe some lineup changes and stuff later on in the interview, but so we'll cover that here shortly. But I wanted to go back to the high school days when you and Scraps did start rapping together. Did you, before the Two Crazy Devils era, I guess you'd call it, do you have any recordings from back even before then?
No, nothing like that. Like, we straight up, I remember I was just, like I said, I'd never put anything on wax before. When me and Chuck, and Chuck is just a real, me and Scraps met, he didn't, we were both so green. We were greener than your shirt and your hat and my shirt put together. And like, our first thing was when we started talking, and we talked about what we wanted to do. We mapped it out, and we actually went to like Denny's. It seemed like every night we started at like a Denny's at, because there were 24 hours, and we were big time smokers, both of us cigarette smokers, like forever. And I think we were, just chiefing on cigarettes and writing music at the Denny's booth. And he was drinking coffee, but I wasn't a coffee drinker. So I would just sit there and smoke cigarettes and drink pop or something. And we would chill out at Denny's for hours writing. And that was what we did. And then we started like, he had artistic ability with drawing and shit. Like, I wasn't in at all. I would do stuff, drawings and things, but nothing like what he was on the end of. And he put together, like, I think we put together flyers together. We went, because everything we did was together. We ride out there, and we went together, and we put the flyers together. And it was basically, it was Two Crazy Devils talking about who we were and what we were going to be and what the album was, and Wicked One rhymes, and you got to check us out. And and we put these flyers out in the stores before we even stepped in a studio before. Like, we never stepped in a studio yet. And we were like, oh, check out our record. We're the next thing. And it was wild.
Whoop, Jason.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Much clown love.
Promoting, right into the record stores and dropping flyers off every record store that you could get. Like, they were all consignment back in the day. Harmony House was like one of the ones we couldn't, but we would still get our flyers in there.
They attempted to do that on,
we would try to, we would go to everywhere you could go to. It's like the disc,
Saturday, I think it was Saturday or Sunday when I went into Bragg Creek to tell me that
could have been in China. At the time when we were kids,
hardware store.
We're like, oh shit, man. You got to drive anything.
They told me it was mandatory and mandated and everything else, and I said yes, and I'm exempt because of my health conditions. They says no, the exemptions do not are not real. They don't exist. I'm going, yeah, they do. They're on the same website that
we would try to stick to the
everything else
we were at, like 23 miles,
is explained in
15-mile and grass shit. Then we down
and I got in shit. Not in shit. I was told I enjoy confrontations when I put the post up,
everywhere
and everything else. I do enjoy a good debate, but when it comes to my health,
was the farthest we went because we would go down.
Who the hell are you to tell me what I
other than
can
that,
and
you know what
cannot
I mean?
do
Until we linked
for
up
my
with
health.
Twisted, then it was
If
like,
I'm
oh, now we're gonna
exempt
start riding out to like Garden
and
City,
you
and
cannot
we'll make it like a day
meet
trip.
my
And that's what it was.
needs,
It was
then
kind
you're
of like a day
violating
trip. We
my
all be
human
riding out
rights.
together in a
I
big,
value
in a
myself
ride,
and have
in a
enough
ride
integrity
together and just
to
be
know
rolling out
what
there,
rights
like
I
me and
have as a human
ROC
being.
and Mad
If
Rock,
you're
some
just going to be a
monoxide,
sheep and
and
not
scraps, and
realize
yeah, just rolling.
what your rights
Or
are,
sometimes it'd be a whole different crew, but it
inalienably
was all of us
rights
riding
are,
out to these,
you're going to
various
get walked
places.
over all the
Well,
time.
you went through a bunch of
I told the
groups
lady
and
to call the
iterations
cops. She
before finally
refused.
settling on
Says, I need the
Blaze.
paperwork in
So can you
hand, so
take us
please
through the
call the
ones
cops so
that you
I can
were
have
and
you
what
charged
didn't and why
for
they didn't stick?
violating my
Like, I know you
human
were Sesh
rights.
OC. I believe
The
yeah,
Karen never did
we
call the
kind of like
cops.
started
However, the
out, that's what it was. It
co-worker
started out
or
as
her
like Psycho C, and it
employee
was like, and Crazy was
went
that
out of
was
his
our
way
original
and got
name.
what
So
I
it
was
was
asking for
that was, it was
and
like a
made
play
things
on,
much
obviously my
easier
name was Chris.
instead of being a Karen.
So it was like, oh,
Because he
Psycho
knew
C,
I
and
was not going to back
in
down.
the hood, obviously you had Violent J, so it
So
was like
he
perpetration
did
on
something.
that area.
Especially
And I
when I
think
said,
when we
call the
started
cops so I
recording
can
the
charge you
record,
for violating
we
my
kind of
human
just,
rights.
I think
He
we
knew
didn't,
at that
we
point I
went
wasn't
through it,
fucking
and we were
around.
very, like I said, we were green and young, so we didn't know much.
So
So as we started continuing to
yeah,
do music,
I've
we
had that
started
most
knowing
recently
what we
myself
liked and what
too.
we didn't like,
I
and what we
can
thought
relate.
people liked and they didn't like. So we started to record, and I think we probably had about 10, maybe 10 or 11
So
tracks,
today's show
12
will
tracks
go a
done
little bit over
before
time.
we were just looking at it,
It's okay
listening
with
to it, and we didn't
corporate.
like it.
Corporate
It
has
was
said
like,
it's
man, everything
fine.
it got old
But
fast.
if you want it to stop
So
at
it was, it was your
11-ish,
first stuff.
it
So
can
we
and
continued.
will,
We basically kind of
and
just
yous will
trashed
have
it
to
at
do
that.
without
It was
because I can't
probably
snippet that
we
last
probably did
16
this within
minutes
maybe 3
of the
months,
video.
and we already, within the next 2 months, we had started a new name, and we actually had a show coming up, and we wanted to have new material for that. So that's what we did. We hit the studio again, and we put together like 4 or 5, 6 more tracks, and we were doing Sleepwalkers at the time, and it was like, all right, I'm going to try to change this all up. My name, I changed it to Sandman.
Well, here,
and he changed
some places it's considered law, some places it's not.
He might
But
have
it's
said
not
that
an
crazy,
actual
something
law
weird.
here in
It was
Canada.
whatever it was.
It's only a mandate.
Because I
It's a
know he changed his
suggestion.
name again after that when he started finally,
Nothing more.
continued on and doing the other stuff with the ROC, later on. But yeah, it was basically, so we did maybe 5, 6 tracks for this Sleepwalkers project. We took pictures of it. It was toned down. It was less of the the theatrical stuff. It was more of just me and him. And
So
pictures,
apparently,
and, in my neighborhood,
I'm no longer
now we're just
allowed,
and then we took a few pictures
or I'm
out
not
near
being
the city,
my posts
near the old
and my feeds are
train
not going to be
building and shit out
approved
there, and the train tracks
by
and shit. Yeah, it was just
Pot
it was a
Squatch.
different type of take on it, and it was more kind of hip hop. Some of the songs, like
Because
a few
Mike
of the tracks made it
Harbus
out there, and a lot of the stuff did
did
that
not
stuff that was just was
like
basically
yesterday's
our
storytelling.
B-sides or
Quote
stuff
unquote,
that
his
I had
comments
given
was,
to somebody
we don't have
to listen to
conspiracy
as,
theory
or
stuff
he had given to
because
somebody to listen
Facebook
to,
doesn't like
made
it,
it
even
out
though
there. So you
the
hear a
video
lot
was
of it,
never ever marked,
some of the worst
tagged,
cuts out
or
of the stuff that's out there. So the things that actually made it out there that people
black
hear
book
is
by
even
Facebook
worse than what
yesterday,
we, our
which
finished
I was
project
really impressed with.
would have been. You know what I mean? So it's even more just, it's kind of like irritating, like
well, listening to
when you hear it now, you're like, oh my god,
but
this is horrible shit.
I
But
had
yeah,
come
a
to
few of the
realize
songs
that
never made it. Sleepwalker songs, like I know there's a couple songs out there. I know
Mike
Gangbangers Anthem has made it out there, and that
Harbus,
song has made it
or
out
whatever,
there.
however
And
you pronounce his name.
I've
I
heard a
never
few
good
tracks haven't.
names.
You know what I mean?
Never
Like,
have been.
I know we did a weed song together.
Don't see that
and
changing anytime quick.
It's About That Time is what the song's called, and that never made it out there. And then me and him made another like a track together, and it was called Damn,
and it's an American squatcher too.
I don't want to be friends with you
from
Bitch,
Facebook.
Yeah, it was some
Mike
some different type of
Harbus
shit that me and him were doing
has
at the time.
little to
that we
no
changed it
backbone when it comes to Mark Zuckerberg,
completely
because
up
I've
from what it
beaten
is.
Mark
But the
every
coolest
time
songs that it's out there that
he's
made it
had
out
come
there,
up against
it's
me.
mixed very shittily,
But
I remember
Mike
I just remember,
Harbus
the shit
Harbus
starts with,
or whatever
it
afraid
starts with, Chuck
of
Scraps just, "Them
Zuckerberg,
motherfuckers don't know who they
member
fucking with,
of
the
Pot
lyrical
Squatch
amnesia."
Army, is afraid.
He's got it's cool. It's one of the
Please,
coolest songs that we did. I think is out there, And yeah, it's just, that's where we started to, get drift away from what we were listening to at first and started to change into what we were growing into. You know what I mean? So yeah, and at the time, like I said, I think we just drifted away as like partners because we had different ideas of what we wanted to do musically. I think for real, like
Yeah.
he wanted to do something this way, and I was looking to do something a different way. And what I was doing was delving back into more wicked shit, and he was kind of straying away from
Well,
that, and
the
that's kind
thing
of what it
is,
was.
it
You know what
was
I mean?
it was a
And we never
story.
really like,
It
oh,
is a
we didn't
sci-fi
get into a
story,
fight, and it was
so
like
it
fuck you
wasn't
type shit. It was just kind of like, he
conspiracy
moved
theory.
on and started doing stuff,
It was a
and he was
story,
doing stuff with
nothing more.
House
Short
of
film.
Crazies or HOK, and I was already moved on and doing new stuff. Like, I mean, yeah, I continued on, and I was like,
But
oh, I was linked up with Twisted at that point, and we were already
someone
starting to
thinks
do
it's
new
something
stuff like
other than.
ISI. And that's where the name change came from. There, it was like, well, if I'm going to do this new stuff and I want to be something different, I want people to see me as a different person. This is kind of what they never heard me before again. So it's to heard me for the first time, because at that point, I've never released anything. Nothing came out. Like, it was all just me, doing shit at home, like with ROC at his crib, or wherever we had the studio set up. Sometimes it would be at Chuck's house, sometimes it was in my basement, sometimes it was at ROC's. You know what I mean? And then once in a while we went and did a couple of cuts where we were at somebody else's house that had a reel to reel. So, you know what I mean? We did cuts all over the place, but none of them we're like, we actually put and sent in to disc makers, and we're like, let's make a CD or a cassette. Never, not one time, Scotty. So anything that was out there to me was like just trash. And the shit that I am now is whatever I put out now as
So
Blaze. And then, so when we started talking to them. I already had the name. I had the name Blaze was my name, but I was fully on this Blaze, the butane magician, because I had an instinct that I was going to be talking about fire. And I was like, and obviously I smoked weed. So I was like, I was going to try to twist on that. And I was like, to be so blatantly crazy, I was like, man, who the fuck is talking about butane? So it was just going to be some, I was in my comic shit at the time and really thought it was cool. And like I said, when I went to Psychopathic, that was the only involvement that I think Jay did at the time. And he was like, hey, I think, Blaze is the shit, but I think, why don't you try like Dead Homie or something? Like, what if you were the dead guy? And I was like, wow, and bang, and fireworks went off and shit let off. I was like, holy shit, yeah, that's fucking next level. So, you know what I mean? At that point, I never fucking said I was Blaze the Butane Magician.
Okay, not a problem.
I did a song with Twisted, 2 songs with him. I think I did What the Fuck, and we did an intro, and we had another song that we did. I think it was Somebody Dissing You. Okay. And them 3 songs were done. And when they took those to actually go sign and, to have dinner with Psychopathic, they took that stuff, the material there, and it was Infamous Superstars Incorporated at the time. And Twisted went to meet them because, in all actuality and all honesty, they had met them before and had actual, had a meeting, and they talked, and whatever it is, they were
Damn, she's chilly in here today.
acquaintances at the time, friends.
for ICP at
Yeah, they were out there with them, and it was actually a ROC. I think that first was out there.
We'll get that back up to the
ROC
proper
stuff, and it wasn't
24
House
degrees in
Crazies,
here eventually.
but ROC, of course, brought some ass House Crazies out there with him. So that's who we had on the road with him as his people. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like at the time it seemed they linked up well with Joe and Joey and everybody at Psychopathic. So they hit it off well with them. And I don't know why whatever went with them. That's, ROC's and Twisted story to tell on that. I don't have no fucking business telling that. But I know that they already knew them from that. So when they took the music, we started doing stuff together at the disc, and we already had an idea of what we wanted to do with it. They were like, all right, well, let's take it down there and talk to them. They already had mentioned to them, Joe had mentioned them, anytime you guys want to do something, let us know. And they went and had dinner. I wasn't at said dinner, But I was told at the time, like, this is basically what it is. Like, we know who you guys are. We'll definitely work with you guys.
Ooh, I
Bring your
love
dude
picking up
along,
packages
and
at post
maybe later
office when
on
I know
we'll
they're
work with
there.
him too. And that's kind of what it was. So I was
So
in there as like a a
please
handshake at
ignore
one point.
any
Maybe I'll
description
get
in the
my
title
turn,
because none
and
of these links
you know
will
what I mean?
take
And I
you.
rode
These are
along at that
yesterday's
point.
show
It's like,
notes
all right,
links.
everything to me was psychopathic at that. As soon as that
Aside from
You're
the
happened.
top one,
you're
which will
So
touching
take you
yeah.
to my
you're touching on a
YouTube
bunch of stuff
page,
that I had
all
questions for,
other
but
links
which is
are
great.
not
But
going to
Oh
help
shit, I'm
for
kicking
today's
it off.
show.
All right.
yeah, so I had a note about Blaze the Magician, but I actually didn't know about the butane part of it. So that's
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
about
No,
the
that's basically
butane
that was
part
it, man. For
through
real.
one of Blaze's
so you
lives
would
that he's done,
that going back.
live
So how did
smoke
that Flipped
sesh.
Insanity record? How did it actually, I guess, leak if you did never officially release it?
I think it was just people that I knew at the time that didn't like seeing me doing much, coming up and doing things, They were like, hey, how can we hit? It would be a good way to try to hit him where it hurts. And really, in all honesty, I didn't give a shit. It was just stupid because in the end, it was like there were things on there that were said that were like direct disses to what would have been ICP disses or disses to people on the label, and it was just not cool. So that's why it was like trying to hurt me. But in all honesty, I already talked to them about those and told them exactly what I had and what was there before, and so they already knew everything that was out there. They were like, yeah, so if it comes back out there, they already know what's out there. It was like, it's just some bullshit. I was a kid and we thought that, that was the way to do it at the time was, to diss the hardest person in there. Cause you start rap battles. We didn't know any better and we didn't really. So like I told you, so in my opinion, none of that stuff was ever going to come out. So, it was like, cause in all honesty, I could tell you the truth, Scotty, and be like, I went back in the studio and changed these lyrics, but I don't have that material to show you. Cause the moment that I started doing Blaze and everything else, all that shit I threw away and got rid of. It was like it was a chapter of my life that I kind of threw in the past and was like, yeah, I ain't really worried about this shit no more. It's like it's two crazy devils. Who the fuck is that? So yeah, it was like I think 100%. It was just somebody that either wanted to see what people would say if they heard, or people that wanted to talk shit. And, it's kind of what it was.
Well, you talked to 24/7 Hip Hop a few days ago, or at least they released the video a few days ago.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that when you and Scraps went to record with ROC at his place, that he pulled you aside and just said, like, dude, you're onto something. You got a great voice. Keep it up. How much of an ego boost was that, like, for you to continue making music?
I mean, that was 100%. That was the shit at the time. I mean, because I looked up to these guys, like everybody that I was around. I told you I was greener than your shirt, man. So it was very much like, when I heard that, because I was struggling at the time to, if I to find how my voice would sound on these things, because it was tough to me. It was like I knew I like to sing when I was growing up, and I knew I could do that. Like, I didn't know if this was the same thing, and if I could do it, if it was the same type of shit. So, because coming from, growing up doing choir and weird shit like that, this is a whole different level of the game. So when we started doing it, it was just me and him talking at Denny's, and it was him hearing me rapping other people's shit in the parking lot. Whatever's hot at the time was the hottest shit. I'm out there fucking spitting in the parking lot. He's like, damn, dude, you can do that. Like, you're just killing this. It's like, but this ain't my music. This is somebody else's shit. Like, so, to me, it was like, whoa, this is crazy. But like I said, yeah, it was just cool, because that was, I looked up to them dudes. I see, I already had music inside the store. They had their own shit going on. They had their own record label. They were bringing us into, you know what I mean? He called and told, I met these dudes. And like I said, it was all on, it was maybe one of them Dr. Fate things, because like I said, when I first met them, I was passing out flyers for that same record that I didn't have any music fucking recorded for. The same exact flyer, two kids that looked like two fucking white kids with, shaved things in their eyebrows on either side, hats, like fucking trying to look thugged out. And it was a drawing that Scraps had drew on, you know, 2 different guys, and one was me and one was him. And it's like, oh shit. That was the first one. And then the other one came out, Sleepwalkers, and it was all crazy with some demons on it. It was like we were trying to, you know, we were trying something different, but like I said, we still didn't have any music. We had music done, but nothing that was like out there. So yeah, it was like at the time he was the first person out there. It's like, man, nothing, you know, you got the voice to do this. Like, you really have a distinct rap voice. Like, don't stop it, keep moving. And yeah, and it was like, yeah, 100%. That was one of them things. It was like, man, you know, thank you, and I'm gonna keep working, you know, for real.
So I know you said that after kind of starting to talk to Psychopathic, you would throw away all of your old stuff. Well, in the while I was researching for this interview, I went back and listened to the leaked Two Crazy Devils album, and on a track called "The Cellar," you have a lyric that actually says, "I hear a noise, someone's crying my name. How should I react? I'm just going insane." I don't know if you remember recording that, but was that just kind of in the back of your mind while you were recording Casket, or like?
No, I went back and I reworked a lot of that song for Casket because it sounded so much like it to me. And when we were writing that song, me and him took that directly from the
This is your 1 minute warning before Dab 30.
Fucking Evil Dead 2. We were watching the shit out of that movie, and a lot of that stuff was from there. We're gonna get you. We took the sample straight from the "We're gonna get you." Yep. Not another beat. Go. It was like we took a lot of that stuff, and that's where a lot of our stuff came from. That was one of the first like horror movies that was you know completely just you know fuck me up, punch me in the head, and was like holy shit. So we did that. We did Deathbed. We did a lot of songs on our Two Crazy Devils shit that was like directly from that movie. And yeah, when I went back, I reworked that whole song into Casket, like most of the song into it.
Yeah, so it had like the same cadence as the original song, but I mean, obviously it was far more.
Good morning, Brittany. How are you?
Yeah, no, I mean,
how is Corrupt Barbie doing?
Even with that, I think I like that song. I like that song in its own right because I can listen to that song and still be like, wow, that's good, because it's very slow.
Time to have another hit. My shatter eyes are filled with diamonds.
Beat we used, it was
still working on my diamonds from my birthday.
I know what it is. It's I think it's it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So between that Flipped Insanity record and I guess your first appearance on Psychopathic was, well, allegedly, is that correct?
Or was it on the Twisted record?
It's either Reissue, Most Tasteless on Hound Dogs.
It's one of those two. I'm not sure.
So there's like a 3-year span, almost 4.
I think I'm going to have to talk to Josh Fletcher,
with you musically between those
the actual
3 or 4 years.
Head guy of Pot Squash, and have him talk to his American friend.
Stuff. And I like genuinely like.
But yeah,
I think I was working there.
I'm not impressed with.
I was on probation for some of the period of time, so it forced
Squatch
me to miss stuff
being
like
this way. So I think I should
first
go
time
right
I was
to
on
the
probation for some shit. I couldn't leave the state. So like I said,
top guy and talk to him.
Clicking for me was I hung out with them somewhere. And I think it was either 90 or 99 or 98.
I think I'll message him after the show.
Like, New Year's, I think, was the first time I hung out with, Jay and Shags and a couple of the fellas like that.
Well,
and,
I'm here if you need a friend in the sense of a cyber friend, but physically, I'm stuck in Alberta
with them and Twisted, so
by choice.
We hung out on New Year's or something like that, and then it was probably a little bit into that. Like I said, I think I said it in my record, like my first the trial.
Thank you much. I appreciate the shares.
You had to prove that.
Today's show is going to be going overtime because interviews
what you're doing.
1 hour and
And that's
16
kind of
minutes.
so that's where it started for me with that. But I think I recorded that song, that Twisted song first. If
Hound Dogs.
yeah, I believe Hound Dogs was first, but they had already heard me on, like I said, What the Fuck,
Mhm.
and Somebody Dissing You, and they knew they had them songs there anyway, so they
Good
kind of heard
morning,
what I was
Chrissy.
doing.
How are
Like I said, I
you?
think it was more like a trial to be able to see if you
Long
were,
time
you
no
could click with
see.
everybody and be cool with the
You
crew
missed a
and all
good
the
show
extra shit with
yesterday.
it, because I was probably, I think I was, man, it was very quick to where they were like, hey, we don't want you working like a 9 to 5 no more. We want you to come up to the office and work up here. It's like, even when I was already on probation, all this shit, or when I was getting into this shit, they were like, yeah, we want you up here away from, the other shit. So just in case, you're going to have some music come out and it's going to look weird. People asking you for shit when you're working a 9 to 5. So at least if you're at Psychopathic, we can tuck you away here and we can still do things. So it was like, that was where I was already, as soon as they were like, yeah, we're, what I mean, we'll see how you were, trial and error type shit with you. I was already there and like, all right, now I'm done fucking around at whatever 9 to 5 job I had at the time. And I was there the next day. And what I mean? They put me into the job working with one of the craziest ninjas there at the time, in shipping. And they kind of said that was like the job everybody had to do. And what I mean? And then it was like, I think I had that. And you had the other shit that it was like bone shit you had to do. Like, you got to go and get the orders for everybody's lunch and go pick that shit up. That was your job. What I mean? It's probably for the first week until, they split it up to everybody. So it was kind of like, it's just one of them things as you start out there.
Just paying dues.
But I was there for a while, what I mean? Like, doing a bunch of different shit, in the backgrounds and
That's allowed.
and
I hope you have some
shipping
winnings for
packages and
D and
building
I.
sets and building like the in-store booth, the original one that we went out in '99.
Yeah,
I helped put that together, like build a roof for that and put lights in it and some AC, fucking doing some man work, man. And they're fucking, using the goddamn hands and doing shit for the company. And yeah, it was a fucking straight up company, man. And everything I did was for the hatchet. And we did the shit like on the daily, every single day, 9 to 5. And it didn't matter sometimes on a weekend because you weren't really on a schedule. It's like you were on a schedule every day.
Oh, excuse me.
When you were there, they wanted you there from like, I think we were there fucking 10 to 7 or 11 to 7, some weird shit. It was like different because they wanted to be meeting up with the West Coast times. And I feel it. It was cool. But we also were on call on the weekends. Like we might have something to do. Like we might be doing some crazy shit. Hey, we might be going and we might need you and Dougie to get in the van and roll out to Toledo and just go shit out of this fucking show. Or, I mean? There's juggalos that are out the mall, go meet up with them and give them fucking. So yeah, it was always
damn.
Yeah. It was wild, man. You had to be ready to grab your balls.
I hope you have.
And that's what it was, for real.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of paying dues before you finally get to that level.
I mean, that's what it was.
I hope you had an enjoyable time.
I think for the most part, we all were doing different things. I was doing a lot of background shit. Like, I mean, I made it into the book, in the behind the paint as Blaze sitting there paintless on one of the things, dragging Jay and everybody into this thing. So it's like, it's like I made it inside this booklet. I was so part of the thing. And like I said, I took it upon myself to be that guy, to grab him and to grab Madrox and to grab the bigger guys. Cause I'm like, you guys, it's going to look stupid. You're going to, drag these little dudes around. I got to hold on to y'all and make it look like, go ahead and try to peel away. And I'm going to fucking pull y'all in here because we about to do the damn thing. Like, we ain't going to make this look stupid. You know what I mean? It was real.
So I know you mentioned that you felt green on the mic until you really got linked up with Psychopathic. Did
True
you
that. When you don't have much money, $40 makes a fuck of a lot of a difference.
I think
especially when you have kids. Most of your money goes on them until they turn 18, and then it still continues that way. Trust me, folks. I know.
The
I got
grandkids.
It was it's never ending.
Different studios too to begin with. The first one. But my EP was
I thought I might have a
disc
chance of
because
getting
it
some
was
money
recorded
saved,
on
but no.
Christmas Vacation
My daughter decided to
the
have
year
children
before, whatever
young.
it was, and it was like, yeah, a lot of things were told. Basically, it all happened because of Alex. Alex came to
I'm
me,
glad you are
and
surviving,
Madrox and
Brittany.
Monoxide was like, yeah, a lot of people are fucking scrambling to find my boys right now. He's got a hit out there. People are talking about him. Let's give him something. What do you guys got for me? And that's what it was. So we
So,
went
if you
back
have not
and went
already,
on, and I
please
think it
hit
was
that like,
Christmas
follow, the
Vacation. I don't know,
subscribe,
remember what
to
year. It might
notify
have been
all.
98 or 90, whatever it was.
It helps with the
Yeah,
algorithms, and
we
you'll
went
never
there,
miss a
did this
show.
fucking, went on vacation, and we
If
went
you
to the
haven't
disc
shared
almost
already,
every other day for
and
the
you find this
vacation when we
show
were out,
enjoyable,
and
hit the
finished the
share.
EP there. And I had a couple
If
other
you
songs
find
that
this
were
show
ready too
annoying,
for the EP that didn't make
also
it,
share
that
and
we held
annoy
off.
someone else.
And I replaced one of
It
those and
helps with the
changed because
algorithms.
Shit
Thanks.
Talkers wasn't going to be on my EP. And I was like, I wanted the one with everybody on it, the fam track. And that one ended up being the track. I took that, I think, from maybe a Twisted record.
Oh,
And they were like,
nice.
well, we got this song we're working
Gotta love
on.
that.
Let's do
I've
this
never
one,
been to a
and we'll throw
casino
this
where
together. So that's
they
what it
give
ended up
you
doing.
free
Took
money,
that
so
their
I have never
record,
had that
and we put it on
opportunity.
the EP
I have
during
had
that Christmas. But
other
other than
people
that,
give me
everything
money
else, was
because
recorded
they're
during
going
that
into the
time. And
casino,
we were
and I've
off, and it
won
was me
from
and
that
Madrox and Monoxide
what
a
they
lot of
gave
times,
me.
and Fritz.
So I understand that
Yeah, so
feeling.
was that your first involvement with Fritz doing your record?
For me, probably yes. But
Right.
I was in there for like everything that probably Twisted ever recorded up until maybe the last, probably like Wicked, maybe around there. I think I somewhere around there, Independence Day or Wicked. I think I stopped going to the studio with them. Like I was there for everything they ever recorded up until then. I was always at the studio with them, always in the background hanging out. I would be there either for noises, for voices. You bring me in for whatever you need me, I was there. But like I said, I was always there. We were always. I was
Now I
anything
may
that was
be
going
able
on
to,
Psychopathic. I was in it.
depending
We were
on
there,
what the
man. We were,
total of my
So
propane
that,
bill
that
is.
fucking chilling.
No, I feel you. And you
I
probably
may be
learned a
able
lot,
to
too,
afford the
doing that with
concert
them, I
this
assume.
Friday
Yeah, I mean,
on
you learn
Family
some
Day
different things. You learn a lot of different. I mean, like I said, everybody works at
on
their
the
own pace
5th
too, and
at
that's kind of what
3
you learn too as you go.
p.m.
And that's what it was. Like I said,
Mountain
I
time,
mean, when I first was there, I was
5
still green
p.m.
when I first started with
Eastern
Psychopathic
time.
because I was the low man on the totem pole, and they.
But I'm
in some
trying to
instances they
acquire
treated me that way,
another
and sometimes
45
they didn't. You know what I mean? They tried to
plus
include me with
dollars so
everything
I
too.
can
But when it
get
started out for Lotus
the
type
video
stuff,
on
it was like,
demand with
I
Blaze.
was in there intimidated. I
So
was trying to make sure I
we'll
was
see how
rewriting my
that
raps
goes.
2 and
If
3
I can
times
get the
to
money,
make
then
sure they
yous
were
will be
flowing
getting
the best that they could flow
a clip
for a
or
Lotus
two
rap.
of
So
that
you wouldn't
video
always hear me
on
first
demand
on every track
with Blaze Your Dead
because
Homie.
I'm gonna wait, make sure
Have not got the
because
ticket
I'm gonna
yet,
make
so
sure
I
my shit's
cannot say
the
what
dopest
it
it
will
can
be
be
because
before
I
I get
have
on the
not got
track.
my bill
That's
yet
kind of what it was
from
for me a
propane
lot on
because
that
they're a
stuff.
day behind.
So that self-titled EP was released at the Summer 2000, I believe. Your first introduction to Juggalos as Blaze Your Dead Homie.
Mm-hmm.
When you came on stage that first time in front of like what was it, 5,000 or 6,000 Juggalos? What was that? I mean, I can't even imagine the difference you felt between that and the smaller shows that you played locally before.
It was wild as hell because, like I said, I've been to the prior to that, I probably went to maybe 1 or 2 shows, and they were always shows for our people. Like, if House of Crazies opened up for ICP, and they did at the Ritz back when it was the Ritz, and it was a show in Roseville, Michigan, and the show was fucking humongous. Like, I remember you go there and you paint up like ICP, they're throwing you like a 4-track cassette tape or some shit. So it was like you were getting free shit to paint up. It was cool fucking freebies and cool shit to go there. And I remember going there and watching HOK, and the show was sold the fuck out. It didn't matter who was on stage. So I watched it. I was like, okay, this is what you got to do. And then we went back there and played without them, and we did probably 1/3 of their crowd there. And I was like, so it was cool. I kind of got what it was. But the thing to me that happened during this stuff that helped me a little bit was I was doing background shit for, I was out there during the Jekyll Brothers tour on stage in paint or in a costume or doing background characters for different people, for Twisted,
Plus
for ICP.
12. Wow.
So I was out there
like,
on stage
wow.
with them, not
Fuck,
obviously
that's
like this
tropical
and not the
weather.
focus
We're
of
minus
attention, but I
14,
seen what it
and we
was like
just
to
got
be out in front
a
of some
foot of
people and just
snow
how they did
dumped
it,
on
man. And I
us
was in awe
last
sometimes,
night.
but I was, also watching and preparing for myself. And then, like I said, a few times I remember there was one show, someone I think it was in
Plus
Philly,
12.
and I think we were in IC Lights or one of the
Should
venues
put
out
you
there,
in timeout,
and we
D.
were out there, and some reason the show was humongous, and it was some reason Jay called me down. He's like, "Hey, we we need Blaze out on stage tonight." And I was like, "What? Word?" He was like, "Yeah, we need Blaze out on stage tonight. We're gonna fucking do it." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So he's like, "Paint up," and I'm like, "Paint up? Like I ain't never painted up before in my life. So like, what am the fuck am I supposed to paint up? Like, what am I supposed to do?" And he was just like, "All right, whatever." So I just remember putting like ghost white paint on all my whole damn face, and I had hair out to wherever. So I pulled this shit out everywhere and we put paint in my hair. This shit was just sticking everywhere. And I just looked like a ghost white ass fucking Colton Grundy out there or Solomon Grundy, running around. And I was just out there to just wave my hands and get hype on stage for a fucking couple songs. But so it was like times like that. And I came out, like I said, at that point where I was out there with them right after the great Malenko stuff, right where they were just exploding into, Jekyll Brothers, where it was fucking humongous, man. Like that tour was so huge, bro. It was like I was out there with them just, running around. And I was, like I said, at the time, I took pride in what we did, man. I took pride in everything. I still do. I take pride in everything we do. And at that point, they had me in charge of some shit like a truck or, putting things in it, make sure and everything, and making sure the stage is set up every night. And I remember I was costume changing and all types of shit, man. Like we took pride in putting that show on and making sure we gave all of y'all a
Well,
good show.
if you're
And
getting
that's where I
rain,
took it
you're
from. So I
also
was like,
in
I
the
was
plus
already,
going to the
I mean?
minus,
I was
Chrissy.
just
So
trying to figure out
you're in my
ways to
shit
make that
books
shit
today, too.
for me
But
the
not
way
as
I
bad
would
as
do it,
D
you know what I mean?
is.
Instead, and not trying to fully bite on everything that they do, because that's what it was, man. They had a lot of cool shit.
D
Yeah,
does
being in
have
the audience for
lifelines
that
because
first
of
gathering,
her
and then
hash
you
and
hear the
such.
intro, and then you hear
However,
the bells for
she is in the
Mhm.
shits today.
man. I mean,
Plus
talk
12.
about. I mean,
Fuck.
man, I know how I felt whenever I saw it. I can't even imagine how you felt being in the spotlight at that moment.
Oh, I think I blew out my voice within like the first 3 minutes of the songs, like because I straight up, it's so different. You get out there and you learn these tricks of the trades and stuff before when things are out there. The first time I was on stage with everybody, we were doing some writers type stuff, and it was a song at like it was the Christmas party.
Okay.
And I remember going up there, and I remember I was straight ice cream coning because nobody had told me like, hey man, you got to bring this thing up and you got to speak into the mic and be on. And I, what I mean. And I remember Joey coming, Shaggy coming over and be like, hey bro. I was like, and like, so you heard me. It was next level though. It was like that's the type of stuff I'll never forget. And yeah, so I remember these weird little things that happened. And
Thank you,
that taught me
Chrissy.
things about what you don't need to be doing on stage.
I didn't know there was a term for that. The ice cream coning.
No, ice cream coning is when you hold the mic so far down.
Yeah,
It looks like
Nova
an ice cream
Scotia
cone, and you're
usually
you got a
is
loud big ass
moody,
cone up here,
but
and
it's
like usually you
mostly.
hold the mic up on
You should
top
have had
of
a
the
very,
mic,
very
where you
mild
can fucking,
winter this year.
like me. I try to pull it here, so you got to lift.
Usually you
think
get
you're
ice
the lip.
and
So you're
sleet
not,
and
and
all
I've had
sorts
that
of
happen.
crap,
It's
and it
not a tooth. I
lasts
fucking busted a
forever,
tooth out with
almost
a
till
microphone
May.
fucking around. And not ice cream
But I
cone, just
still,
what I
you're
mean.
in the
You're getting
shits
hype
today,
and
D.
you
I'm
move the
sorry.
wrong way. That
Nova
bitch,
Scotian
Right.
aside,
chipped
being
the tooth
Canadian
over that
aside, you're warmer than
So
me, and
from
I'm
that
in the hot spot of
1999 to
Canada,
the
supposed to
2001
be.
span, I mean, there were so many
I have
projects
issues with
going
Old
on
Man Winter
Psychopathic at the
today.
time, but one
shit.
that I hold close is the
When you
original
have to
Dark
shovel
Lotus stuff
snow
from
to
Lotus
go
5.
poop in the
So,
morning,
I mean, you kind of
you
gotten your
become a little bit
gotten
cranky.
your reps in with the EP and Riders.
Mm-hmm.
Did they like formally ask you to be a part of Lotus, or how did that all come about?
Man, Lotus went into so many incarnations, it seemed like, before I was involved with it. Like they were already had different, I mean, they had songs that they pre-recorded, different things that they had out that they were, that they weren't called Lotus yet, but they knew them as Lotus. Like everybody else might not have known them as Lotus, but they had at the label, they were like, that's a Lotus track. And then, you know, as stuff went on, I remember we started and we did a couple of songs for Lotus, I think originally, that the first time when they you know, they already told me, they were like, yeah, we want Blaze and Lotus, and it's going to be, you know, Blaze, Twisted, ICP, and we're going to throw Killer in there. And we all went to the studio and we started doing songs. This back when the Lotus Pod was in the midst of being fully completed.
Okay.
So it wasn't done yet. They were still building. And so we were back at the disc working again, and all of us were there. And I think we recorded Drunken Ninja Master. And it was just, yeah, that was like the one song that
Wondering what I'm doing, folks. I'm working on my first
maybe we might have
hot
recorded
pot
Layaway,
of coffee
which 2 songs that didn't make it on Lotus as the Lotus
for today.
songs at all. I
I'm
think.
currently
But I think we
working on
recorded
my
these 2
cold
songs,
coffee
and
from
that was like the
me
beginning.
losing
And
my
then
propane
I don't know
overnight.
what happened, but it kind of just it stopped. Everything stopped. And
Normally,
it was like
my
the brakes
coffee
were
sits on
hitting,
top of the stove
and I think
and
maybe
keeps
a couple
nice and
weeks were
warm.
taken,
So
and we pulled back.
don't have
And
any
then
issues when I get
the
up in the
next time we
morning.
started back into Lotus, there was somebody else in the studio, and we started
Can't say
rolling.
that
And we
for
were like,
this
okay.
morning.
I was going to ask you how
A little bit off
came about.
today.
You know, what did you think of him being Mars being in the mix for that original Lotus album? Because I mean, like you said, you had already done a track with Killa, and then was it like,
Yeah.
was that ever actually discussed, or was it like, no, this is what's happening?
Yes, in a sense, it was, and it wasn't. It's like it was discussed. It was like, hey, we're about to do, you know, we're gonna try to do this thing where first it was like, what do you guys think about Mars being in Lotus? And we were like, well, Killa's not in it. That's like, I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know. We don't know this guy. Why? You know what I mean? That was kind of what I think that was kind of the general thing from the 3 of us. Like, why? What's going on? Why would we do that?
I think
We
Nova
have
Scotia
Lotus
is the pilot
here on the
project,
label already.
or at
You know what I
least
mean?
the news
So,
articles
no hate,
aspect
no hate on
of
Mars at all.
global
Wasn't hate at
warming.
all. We were just
Because
kind of like,
everywhere
why?
else in
Flex?
Canada
Like, what
is
the fuck?
fucking
So,
normal.
anyway, he came in and was like, we're gonna do some trial songs and see how he sounds, how he fits. So we're like, okay. So we started doing the trial songs. And we did, you know, the couple. I think he did Alibaba and a couple other songs with us, and we started going. And it was like, you know, and we kept going along, and he was still there every day. And he's like, great, he's in. All right, well, so yeah, the album just finished, and that he was in it by then. So that's what happened.
Okay.
And yeah, we finished off the record. And like I said, we didn't like, there was no hate, didn't have any problems with him. We were in the studio, and like I said, the studio was a different type of atmosphere sometimes, because we started actually getting into the Lotus Pod, and we were doing some of this crazy shit we used to talk about all the time, you know, lighting candles and getting dark and getting wild. But we'd also fucking have we were doing this stuff where we were collaborating a lot on musically, and I'm not putting myself in there as the ultimate collaborator, but I know I would watch as
I think
you know,
you're absolutely right, D. Nova Scotia is bipolar.
Sounds on the keyboard,
not the people in it.
You know, somebody else
just
would jump up and
Nova
do some
Scotia
stuff.
itself.
So it was a lot of this type of stuff we were doing Lotus originally, and the first album like that.
Poor
And
people
then,
are
you know,
subject to
along
Nova
with
Scotia.
our usual
Not
suspects and cast
other way around.
like Mike Clark.
That's why I'm afraid to go to Nova Scotia and the East Coast.
So, yeah.
I've been everywhere
Like I
else,
said, it was
Quebec,
cool, but
all
like I
the
said,
way
at
up
the
to
point,
Yukon,
I was still green,
to
so
West
they were-
Coast.
to
I've
me,
been
they were just
down as
bringing
far as
another
Kansas
guy
City,
in that I didn't
Kansas,
know that
but I have
probably
not
was
done
doing
the
this
East
for
Coast,
40
so I'm
years,
afraid
and
of
now
it.
I gotta fucking sit here and fucking make sure that my shit's extra fucking dope, you know. And that's exactly what it was. In my head, I was like, man, who the fuck, damn it, I know Killer, this is my dog, and we would just fucking write, and our shit would be dope. I know it's dope, but this dude, I'm making sure, like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's another dude from some other fucking group he trying to, you know. And that's basically what it was. So I was, you know, I guess in a sense it kept me on and writing no matter what, you know, because like Lotus was where I got to do, you know, everything. Like, let me just shine it off and start, you know, shining this shit up, and let's just do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was cool.
Yeah, and I know you touched on it a little briefly before, but the whole recording process for Lotus or any collaboration between all the artists at Psychopathic at the time. So, would you just sit in a room or at the studio and then write? You'd be all writing your verses simultaneously, and then what happened at that point?
Whoever gets their shit done, running in the booth, man, just
Okay.
start ready to kick it off. And then, usually, like I said, sometimes so you're either in there or worst case scenario, if you're still writing like I was sometimes, you would grab the headphones and listen to the beat on the headphones and keep writing while somebody's in there spitting. And that's exactly what we do. We just keep spitting. Everybody go in there and keep rolling.
Did y'all help each other out, like with the theme of the song
We
and
talked about, we always think we all came up with the themes usually together, and sometimes somebody would come in with one the day before. So you didn't know. And some of the instances for like that record for one of my
So
headache,
tomorrow's show
and
will be the regular
there was another
scheduled
song on
music
there too. Give Me That Blood. Were
that
two
we
tracks
have
that
come
are, I
to
think,
enjoy.
Twisted just went to the disc. We were over there and we did those songs over there and we brought them over.
But
And
because
we,
this is a fresh
added
interview
those
that was
and
done the
added
other night,
everybody
and it
else's
has to
verses
do
to
with the
them. And
concert coming
so it
up,
was like a couple
that
songs
anyone
like
and
that.
everyone
We
can
did collaborations
participate
like
in
that, where it's like,
virtually.
well, we brought these two songs and just
I felt it
completely
was needed to be listened
two
to.
Lotus songs that we wanted to add. And
Okay. Well, last Lotus question. So you guys performed as a group as the original Lotus with Mars at the 2001 gathering of the Juggalos for the. I don't remember if it was the one and only time. I know it was the first time. But what was that? How was that different than performing as Blaze or as part of Twisted's ensemble?
I mean, it was way different because I felt like being somebody that knows all the material, I'm out there covering like pretty much 90% or 90% everybody else is out there. So I knew all the material, but I don't know. I had this photo, whatever it is, sound memory type shit, whatever the fuck it is. So I would memorize everybody's shit. So I'm covering them as they're doing their stuff. And then sometimes it was crazy because when Mars was gone, we were kind of expected to like each, we started doing this thing where it was like, hey, sometimes we're over each other, so let's try to cut and just do each other's band member. You know what I mean? So it was like, all right, well, Shaggy will get, Jay's fucking backups, and when I say we'll get Madrox's, and Blaze will get Mars, or Mars vice versa, and then Mars is gone, so Blaze will just get Blaze. So you know what I mean? So it was tough. Thankfully I had Madrox and Monoxide always jumping in and helping out for my stuff. So we ended up getting that. We had a routine set down. So we were doing our Lotus, and I would just try to help everybody no matter what, because I never knew when somebody's mic would be low or wouldn't work or something was fucked up. So I was always still just doing it anyway.
Right. So
yeah.
You also performed at this gathering, at the 2001 gathering, and you brought out Anybody Killa. Now I think I think you actually brought him out on the Rock the Dead tour, and he was wearing like just straight silver face paint. This is according to a homie of mine named Ben. He said he was at one of the shows, but
yes, yep.
I know you guys had linked up prior to you being a part of Psychopathic, but was he just a roadie at the time of the Rock the Dead tour, and kind of like in the same you came on, or what?
No, when he started out with me, I brought him out there as my hype man. Like he was my hype man altogether. Like he was ABK at that point already. That was his name, Anybody Killa. And he wasn't ABK yet, he was Anybody Killa. And he would be out there. And I think the first time he painted that like that was for the video, for the Twisted video. And I think we had a professional at the time that was doing paint, and they were like, hey, let's, we'll take care of something. So I think he stepped in and was like, yeah, let me see what you, so they painted him with this look, but I think we decided to change it and add something else. Like we need to make him look crazy. So I think we added that mask part, half a mask part from Michael Myers mask or something. and he would wear that for the video. And then when we actually went out there, we were still, trying to get his look down to figure out exactly what he was going to look like. And that's what it was. So I think when we went back and we started doing the next stuff, I think it was actually Shaggy. It was like, hey man, let's try something like this. And I think he, the original killer was Shaggy painting it on for him. Like, this is what it, should look like. Let's try this. And that's where, and then it's just kind of stuck there.
Well, that performance at the 2001 gathering was also the first time, I believe, that we saw you.
This is your 2-minute warning before dab o'clock. I repeat, this is your 2-minute warning before dab o'clock.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I think you were wearing them for the Rocky Dead tour. So, what was the? I guess what made you want to change that look up?
It was a move just to change from just album change. Like, I was going for a look which I knew at the beginning, like, scary. Like the original look, the EP look, it started as, at the beginning it started just way different, and then it turned into what it was. And I remember Monoxide's brother, JD, the weed man, at the time, he was like, that is the scariest shit I ever seen. Like, when I would be walking around with this fucking pantyhose on and, minimal paint, and my teeth black is, fucked up, and ears are out, but they're dirty and like fucked up, and hair's just pulled out. It looked, like I didn't give a fuck, and I would rob you, and you didn't want to see me in an alley. And that's exactly what it was. So when we went with that, that was the start of it. And then, when we went on to the next record, they were talking about, you had painted before, like out on the road with us before. Why don't you try to do something with some sort of paint? It's like kind of the thing here. It's psychopathy. Everybody's painting a little bit. So why don't you try some sort of paint? So then I came up with the One Less G a little bit more. Like, I thought, to me, a dead body is more, I'm going to be a ghostly white, and you're going to see me sunken in a little bit with some dark areas wherever you see any cracks in my face or lines. And that's what I always kind of pictured more, and sunken in a little on the cheeks. And and then I always, like I said, my description was dying with a gunshot wound in the head. So it was like, okay, well, automatically I've got to throw a wound and then some blood, and there's where it was, for real.
It's gotta be a lot more comfortable performing with just the paint than the pantyhose on the head. For sure.
It is a little bit, because sometimes, like I said, the pantyhose will fucking shove your nose completely sideways, or fuck you. If someone, you're like, what's going on, man? You can't get doing it. It fucks up speech just a little bit.
So later that year in October, One Less G in the Hood officially drops. You had, classics like Nasty, Juggalo Anthem, Straight Outta Detroit. The whole album's just a banger. How did you feel like it elevated your career amongst Juggalos and outside of Juggalos?
Man, I'm telling you, it was wild at the time, because, like I said, I had no idea how big it was really. I didn't imagine that it was going to be, what it was and what it would lead to any more records. I was just, was happy to see something come about, because, like I said, I was dealing with a lot of different shit in between, struggling in between that shit. Like, issues with having to fucking worry about things. And then with putting that record together was more, more importantly, was a little bit of struggle too. So yeah, it's like, I was happy to have the product out, but I was like, I was always looking for what's next, but I never knew exactly how to work the product. It was like, am I supposed to go out, do I headline? Do I go out and, what's next? So, I was always like I said, so green that I'm behind waiting, like I should have had a video for this and a video for that. But it's like, in all honesty, I'm helping. I took the back seat, started helping push with other things for other people at the same time. And then as well as pushing in group stuff, So yeah, like I think I focused a little less on this record and started focusing on what was next. So yeah, I don't think I really, recognized how people were really receiving it. You know what I mean? Because without some of the stuff that they have now with like YouTube and Facebook and all the extra shit you got now, where people can be on there like, oh, that was my favorite record. I bumped that was the shit. It's like, man, that's a Juggalo classic. It was like, really? Whoa, that was the start of the era. Really? Like, thank you. Whoa, thank y'all, man. That's the shit. Like, much love. And it's fucking, thank y'all for listening, and thank them and everybody else for putting me up and give me a stage to go out and perform on. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it was for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like I said, there's so many classics on there that I think even if you didn't push it as hard as you could have, it just grew organically, just because of how fucking fire those tracks were. So, no, it had a lot different feel to it than the original EP.
Yeah.
I know Mike P was heavily involved in this album, as
Mhm.
well with a lot of the releases of Psychopathic at the time. Was it a choice for you to go heavy with Mike P versus a full Fritz album at the time?
Well, like I said, I think a lot of the stuff started out as Fritz songs, Fritz tracks, and then were switched in the end to be
We are now
replayed,
into
or
the
songs to
overtime.
be played or replayed in the key of Mike P.
Mhm.
So, you know what I mean? Like, and Fritz will tell you that, like Hood Rats and shit. There's a few fucking tracks on straight out of Detroit, or Saturday Afternoon, I think. I'm sorry, Straight Out of Detroit. He might have did the original for that too. He did a lot of different tracks. Like a lot of the basis of the album started with Fritz. And I think that's what it was. A lot of the stuff was mixed, or some of the stuff was actually replayed by Mike P. So, you know what I mean? And then in the end, it looks like Mike P did full, production and all the work on the record, when really it was like a lot of it, like I said, the bass was set up by.
So, as I was saying, there's going to be.
Okay.
So it was like it was a lot of the Fritz record, and then some of the sounds were retooled by Mike, and then that's what it was. So yeah, that's where I think the sound difference is. It's technically it was just a sound difference
Magic
because
Ninja Entertainment
Mike P came in there and he played different.
The
sounding
first
guitar.
show,
and a lot of the stuff he did was
of
cool. Like I like it. I'm not hating on
the
it at all. Like I love
Fam
a lot of the stuff
Fridays
that he added to it, because he was the first person I
is
see
February
to
5th,
actual
8
double
p.m.
instruments.
Eastern
Like I
Standard
would see him,
Time
he would have a
Blaze,
bass, and then he would double the bass on another track, and it was cool as fuck. It
following
was like, because these were the beginning
Friday,
kind of
February
times of
12th, Oh
Pro
the
Tools,
Horror,
and it seemed like he was pretty well mastered.
February
in that shit.
19th,
Wow.
You know what I mean?
ABK,
Like he was very good at it, and just like Mike Clark,
February
So, like,
26th,
there's people that got great ears
Ala
and are very good
Exo.
with that computer, and two guys are like that, and Fritz is just like that too.
So you never really worked in the studio with Mike, with Mike P. It was mostly you did the full album.
No, I did for sure.
I
did,
shall
for sure. Me and Mike P
put
did fucking
in the
Juggalo Anthem
comments
together. Like that was his
the link
one of his
to
songs that he was like
the webpage, so you,
yeah, for sure.
if you want
There's
to
a couple
do
different ones.
the
I think 10
cyber
Bodies
concerts,
is a straight up Mike P.
the
track.
4 concerts
Okay.
for
All
the
together.
four
Like, he
4
brought
Fridays
that to
of
me
the month,
and was like, hey man,
this
you want
month,
this? And I was like, fuck
then
yeah. And
check
yeah,
it out.
there's a couple like that. So yeah, for sure. Like Mike, Mike P was like in-house engineer type guy too at the time. So he was in there for most everything.
Mm-hmm. So were there any tracks that were scrapped from One Less G for whatever reason that never even made it onto like a later compilation album or a Forgotten Freshness type album or anything like that? Are you still sitting on any?
It's tough. Like I said, there's one track that I'm sitting on that it's like it was in the middle of those two tracks. That era. I think it was in between One Less G and the EP. And I think it might have been
I
the
do
actual
know
EP era. But like I
because
said, it didn't
after
make
this
it on there, so it would
interview
have been a One
the
Less
other
G
night,
track. And it
Blaze
didn't
went
make
live
it. There's actually 2 tracks I got
and was
from that
talking
era.
about all of this.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them is
and I was in that live with him.
But yeah, I got one track that I know.
If
for
you
a
haven't
fact that
checked the
me and Killer
website
did,
out,
and it
hit
was
the
just
link.
missing a chorus.
It's $13
And, I
for
just never
night of
finished it,
entertainment
and
or hours.
I actually had the chorus.
Good entertainment.
We just never put it on. And
Virtual
I don't know why,
tickets.
but it got lost in the sauce, and it didn't.
Virtual
never made it.
everything.
And there's
However,
another track that I did with Twisted.
you also get to do
way back
an
in the day. It was
opportunity
one
to
of the
do
first
meet and
songs I
greets.
did with them,
That's a
I think,
$50
ever.
package. So
it's another one of them ones that just
you
never
get to
seem
do
light a day.
one-on-one
Man, I think
video,
it
It's wild.
Skyping,
Yeah, those
Zooming,
and
whatever
it's
you
wild.
want to call it,
And I have it somewhere tucked away
with
that we
the
never
artist.
fucked with it, just left it
I
alone.
don't know how long
Oh,
it
those would be
is,
perfect candidates for
whether it's a minute, what
future,
it
forgotten
is.
flavor type release, or
Oh
something.
yeah, Graveyard Greats
Graveyard
Part
Greats,
2,
yeah, exactly.
Part
Yeah,
Deuce,
absolutely. Let's do it, man.
for sure.
Um, was there anybody that you reached out to for features for the album that didn't come through for one reason or another? Or did
For
you
the
just
original one,
yeah.
for One Less G, no, not at all. Like we straight up everything we wanted, we had on there. Everybody wanted. It was like it was a family shit, man. That's where the family kind of it started. In my opinion, we started busting it together. We were all at times in the studio together at that time. Like we were doing Hatchet Execution. Everybody was in there. You know what I mean? It was like there were times like that, and then there were also other songs. And as I said, when we were working together, it was a fucking Sunday, and they're doing something in the studio at 4:00. They're gonna call you, and if you don't answer, then you're kind of fucking you're the dick. So you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's kind of what it was. And yeah, so I mean, I remember getting bitched out on a fucking, like on a voicemail for not answering, and I was in the midst of driving up to said studio. You know what I mean? So I'm not answering my phone while I'm driving. So I'm listening to music loud as fuck, like you would be doing in your goddamn car, and that's some other crazy shit happened because of that. But whatever. Anyway, just wild dumb shit.
And this is back in 2001, where cell phones weren't the cell phones we know now. This is flip phone quality shit too. So
no, you got a pager before that.
Right.
And it was like you're getting pages, and they're fucking 911 you. But no, we had the luxury of actually having cell phones. But yeah, it still was the same shit.
Yeah, I feel you. So one thing I noticed on the psychopathic release of the deluxe G edition of One Less G is that some of the credits were changed to Power of the Pen. Is that an alias that Madrox came up with, or you came up with, or do you know why that was changed?
I don't know. It's a possibility. Yeah, it's like because I said we were working together on most of that stuff when we were doing things. And like I said, a lot of the misconceptions is everybody else is in there writing all the material, but it was really just me and Madrox. And sometimes it was me, Madrox, and Monoxide. And sometimes it was just me. Yeah. So it's like, that's basically what it is.
Okay. So, like I said at the very beginning of the interview, you're performing One Less G somewhat in its entirety with some other shit sprinkled in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but what do you guys plan for the set?
Oh man, I mean, well, Killer's in the house and Twisted's in the house, so it's gonna be some cool shit like that. We'll have some family, just taking it back to what it was like when we were doing things together, and still doing it, and wishing we were able to do this thing on a live set somewhere with y'all, like in instead of just being live in your living room, but actually being live in a fucking venue doing this damn thing.
Right. So in the past virtual concert experience Twisted and M&E have put on, they've been pre-recorded sets. Is that how you're doing it this time, or are you going to do a live feed?
We're live feeding.
Okay.
For this shit, because I got to do, I'm doing different things for this as well. Like I'm not doing any pre-recorded video things. Like I have some stuff that I did pre-record visual that you will see within this. I don't want to give up too much shit, Scotty, and trying to pull it out of me. But yeah, there is some different things. So, but yeah, this because we're doing the VIP experience thing too, and it's gonna be my first time doing that. And I'm like, damn, let's do the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So is it? And again, you've had a couple of experiences doing it with NetFest and with the Fright Fest experience. Is it tough performing with no audience out in front of you?
Very, because the first couple of times it's like, man, you know, you're trying to like have fun and pretend like, hey, you're here. But as you keep going, you're like, man, I'm saying the same damn joke. I gotta stop it. And so yeah, it's wild. It is so different because like, yeah, you have nobody there to feed off of, man. It's like, you know, when you're out there, you feed off the crowd, you feed off everything that's like the energy that's out there, and I feed off of juggalos in general, ninjas, whatever. I feed off all them in general. And yeah, when they're hype, that gets me extra hype, and then I blow my voice out faster.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, I know there's certain songs that you expect. I mean, at this point in your 20 plus year career, you expect to pop after you're done with it, or right when it starts, and you don't get that. So I imagine it's a little bit weird for you.
Oh yeah, I mean it's different. Yeah, it's different. It's like, you know, you hey, just we're holding out hope that we'll finally be the fuck back out there sometime, you know, within the end of this year or somewhere before later than, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
sooner than later is what I meant.
They already announced Astronomicon in August. I figure that's going to be, if everything goes as planned, that's going to be the first time you're going to have a chance to perform in front of a live audience. Is that something you're really looking forward to, or
for sure?
Given the state,
I know it'll be a different experience because when we're there, we tend to have a lot of fun. I start drinking, you'll see a slightly inebriated Blaze stumbling around and you know, performing songs on karaoke that he probably should never perform, like last year. But you know, so yeah, but other than that, yeah, it's trying to just have fun out there. But I think it'll be a whole different experience again. Just be so hyped just to be out there and doing it.
If you've never seen Blaze live on karaoke doing a Pantera song, man, you're missing out.
Yeah, that was the fun year. I swear, last year I fucked my whole status of karaokeing up. So if I'm doing it again this year, I'm gonna have to bring it back hardcore with something completely different.
Right. Well, so I think we've covered a ton of topics. You know, starting from the beginning of your career all the way through, you know, the One Less G era. For those who are, I don't know why you would be, but for those who are on the fence about getting this live stream, what would you tell them about, you know, what to expect and what, you know, what flavor you're going to bring for their measly $13?
Oh man, it's going to be the shit. You got to come check it out because it's like you said, it is some things that you'll probably never see this again unless they make this you have to do forever and ever. You'll never be able to do the live shows again. Then that's the only way you'll see this again, because I'm not going to do another one of these fucking things like this ever again. And it like I said, it's going to be that there's some things on there that you will not want to miss. Brand new. Brand new shit that you will not want to miss. You have to see and you have to check it out.
All 4 shows,
and I'm telling you, it's going to be just like
all 4 Fridays.
With
no VIPs, $35.
And
single show, $13
you need
for
to tune
Blaze.
in and check it out, because a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't know what it's like, and you weren't there or you weren't around. You were like, I don't remember. I didn't know that they were.
The VIP virtual meet and greet is $50.
One time we're like a tag team, and they were on the stage together, and they would slap the shit out of people in the crowd. They don't remember that. Well, this right here is going to remind you. It's going to remind you how we would take a rubber and just slap you in the face with it. And you would grab that rubber and be like, God damn it, I'm taking this home as a souvenir. Nasty motherfucker. For real. How nasty. Y'all nasty.
That's right.
No, for real.
So February 5th, 9 p.m. Eastern. I think the easiest way for you to go get your tickets is go to Blaze's website, blazeyourdead1.com. Scroll to the bottom.
Go check forthefamfridays.com. I remember it now.
There you go.
I'm chopping everybody up with the damn information.
The link is in the chat.
And we'll put a link to that on the bottom of this video for sure. Make sure you guys go out and support Blaze, support the whole M&E team. They've got massive flavor for February coming for you. One last thing that you posted about very recently, this or that type of thing. Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Oh man, that's tough. Like I think genuinely I would go to In-N-Out first,
Oh,
but I love Whataburger because they have more variety. That's why. So I go to Whataburger first when I'm in Texas because that's the spot. Like if I'm out, like if I'm in Vegas, I don't even think they have Whataburger in Vegas. So
No.
you got to get In-N-Out, and that's the only place. But I don't like that In-N-Out doesn't have enough variety. I am not a fan of just a burger, a single and a double, and a fry and whatever. It's got to have some more shit. Even Coney Island doesn't just serve you hot dogs with chili and cheese. They got fucking honeys with chicken and all types of ranch and all types of good shit. They got fries and chili and cheese on them too. And you should try them out. If you don't go to fucking Vegas, if you go to Vegas, you try them out.
There's a healthy way of spending your $40
Well,
if it
this part of the
isn't spent
interview out because I
already.
was fully expecting to say Whataburger, so
Buy a package for
I'm
all
telling you,
4
I
shows.
love Whataburger. They're the only ones that give me a
Chrissy?
free fucking bag. I went
Right.
there, and the last time I was there was with my dude Dustin. We were there, and I swear they were just like, "Here, just take them." I swear I took like 6 of those things, and I spread them out to all my family, and none of them live anywhere near a Whataburger, and they're all carrying Whataburger bags.
hell yeah,
Fucking-
representing.
for real, representing like a mother.
I have
But
no
I've
clue
heard
how
a
Roku works
sprinkle of
or
things that
anything like
Whataburger
that.
is
So
might be moving out this way, 'cause I
you have
heard
to
they were
send
bought
me a
by
link.
somebody
They
else.
were bought
Somebody
by
said it on there.
by some company in Chicago. They were
See, so
hopefully-
then they need to start moving this way, and then it will probably go up in my range over fucking In-N-Out altogether.
right. All right, Blaze, man, it's been a pleasure and an honor talking to you, brother. I wish you the best of luck on the 5th, and I'll be tuned in watching.
Show.
For those of you guys watching this, forthefamfridays.com, get your tickets, get your merch bundles, and peep it out.
Yeah.
Blaze?
Check it out. 20 years, one less G in the book. Crazy bad homie, Scotty D. Down to J1.
Hell yeah.
One.
Maybe you have enough for you have enough for one show. Thank you for sticking around for the extended show Blaze interview. Remember, stay safe, stay sick, and sanitize.
Use this information, invite your affirmations, turns into incantations, unlock your hidden power, affirm my animation. This is your recreation, no more procrastination. Now there you're empowered, you're no longer unconscious. Let the words I am seep into your subconscious. You got so many options. I am anything and everything I wanted. The 2 words I am are so powerful. So if you say you're depressed and you're tired, then you are. But if you say I'm great and believe you go far, it all comes from within. Just think about it. If you believe that you're great, you'll attempt great things. When you affirm I'm strong, you know the power that brings. The words will shape you in a powerful way. Make sure every day look in the mirror and say, I am.
Wake and Bake Fred Fury. With the Wake and Bake Fred Fury. Now live on Michigan United Broadcast.
Everything ends. That is always sad.
Thank you, Chrissy.
But everything begins again too. And that's always happy.
And it is